A very good evening, aspirants. Welcome to daily newspaper analysis of Shankar IAS Academy. Displayed here are the list of news articles that we are going to discuss today. As you can see, we have chosen news articles from different newspapers. So without much delay, let us get into the first news article discussion. Look at this opinion page article. See, recently Abhijit Gangoptaya, who was a former judge of the Calcutta High Court, joined the Bharatiya Janata Party (BJP) after few hours of resignation. See, some people disapprove the practice of judges holding official post after retirement. They believe that this may impact the independence of the judiciary. Others, including those in the government, have pointed out that there is no constitution bar to this effect. And it is true that if a judge accepts a post-retirement appointment from the government, people are bound to doubt whether their judgments were delivered for wrong reasons. This is what the article is talking about. So in this background, let us understand some facts about retired judges from the prelims perspective. Firstly, for those who don't know, the Supreme Court judges retire upon attaining the age of 65 years. It is as per Article 124, Clause 2 of Indian Constitution. On the other hand, for the High Court judges, retirement age is fixed at 62 years by Article 217 Clause 1 of Indian Constitution. However, a judge may resign before reaching the retirement age by giving their resignation to the President. After retirement, a judge of the Supreme Court is prohibited from practicing law in any court in India or pleading before any government authority. As per Article 128 of Indian Constitution, any retired judge of the Supreme Court of India can be called back to sit and act as a Supreme Court judge. However, the Chief Justice of India may request a retired judge of the Supreme Court or a retired judge of the High Court to function as a judge of the Supreme Court for a limited term. He may take this action only after obtaining the permission of both the President of India and the people who will be nominated for the position. The President of India shall set the salary and allowances that will be paid to the individual who has been selected in these circumstances. And remember, the Constitution does not detail the pension and other retirement benefits of judges, as they are covered under other laws like the High Court Judges Salaries and Conditions of Services Act 1954 and the Supreme Court Judges Salaries and Conditions of Service Act 1958. These laws provide for pensions, housing and other benefits to ensure that judges can maintain a dignified standard of living after retirement. Apart from this, the retired judges often get appointed to various tribunals and commissions where their judicial experience can contribute to the effective resolution of dispute. For example, National Green Tribunal, Armed Force Tribunal and various regulatory commissions. So the takeaway points are the CJI can request a retired judge of the Supreme Court or the High Court to function as judge of the Supreme Court for a limited term. This is mentioned in Constitution under Article 128. But the Constitution does not mention about the pension and other benefits of judges. They are provided through statutory laws. Some retired judges are appointed in tribunal and commission so that their judicial experience can be utilized to the effective resolution of disputes. So these are all very important takeaway points from this news article discussion. With these learned points, now let us move on to the next news article discussion. Look at this news article. Recently, in an interview to Indian Express, former Calcutta High Court judge turned politician Apurva Vishwanath talked about negative performance of Bengal in happiness index, and he also cited about progressing social backwardness in Bengal. So in this news article discussion, let us understand about the World Happiness Index 2024 from the exam perspective. You can see the relevant syllabus for this particular topic. So what is actually World Happiness Index? See, the annual World Happiness Report is a partnership of Gallup, the Oxford Wellbeing Research Center, the UN Sustainable Development Solutions Network (SDSN), and the World Happiness Reports Editorial Board. The report is an outcome of a 2011 resolution adopted by the UN. It urged members to give more importance to happiness and well-being in determining how to achieve and measure social and economic development. It is called the Bhutanese resolution, as Bhutan for many years has used gross national happiness rather than the GDP as a marker of success. So the report is actually based on global survey data from people based on people's own assessments of their happiness as well as economic and social data. So it consists of 6 key factors: social support, income, health, freedom, generosity, and the absence of corruption. So after considering all these factors, a happiness score will be assigned and it will be based on an average of data over a 3-year period. Hope you could understand how this happiness index is prepared. With this basic information, let us understand the outcomes of 2024 edition. See, in 2024 edition, it has surveyed 143 countries, and out of which Afghanistan remained at the bottom of the list. And for the first time in over a decade, the United States and Germany have slipped out of the top 20 happiest nations, landing at 23rd and 24th place respectively. The nomadic nations continue to dominate the top ranks, and Finland topped the list for the 7th year in a row. The other top 10 countries are Denmark, Iceland, Sweden, Israel, Netherlands, Norway, Luxembourg, Switzerland, and Australia. So this report underscores a change wherein the happiest countries no longer include any of the world's most populous nations. Only the Netherlands and Australia, both with populations exceeding 15 million, are present in the top 10. Now let us quickly go through India's stand in this report. See, India is ranked 126th on the list, the same as last year. Most importantly, India is behind Pakistan, Libya, Iraq, Palestine, and Nigeria according to the report. Secondly, it gives a major insight that older Indian men, particularly those in higher age bracket, presently married, and those with an education, tend to report greater life satisfaction compared to their counterparts. However, older women in India report lower life satisfaction than older men. In this aspect, it is quite important to note that India's older population is the second largest worldwide, with 140 million Indians aged 60 and above. It lies second only to its 250 million Chinese counterpart. Additionally, the average growth rate for Indians aged 60 and above is 3 times higher than the overall population growth rate of the country. So, as older age is associated with higher life satisfaction in India, it comes as a contradiction to some claims that the positive association between age and life satisfaction only exists in high income nations. Regarding the adult population, the study revealed that older adults in India with secondary or higher education and those of higher social caste reported higher life satisfaction compared to those without formal education and those from scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. So these are all very relevant facts that you have to remember about this World Happiness Index 2024. You can make note of these points and use it in your mains answer, and it can be asked in prelims as well. So these learned points. Now let us move on to the next news article discussion. Look at this advertisement from Indian Express newspaper. This advertisement is talking about RBI's Retail Direct scheme. So let us learn about the scheme from the prelims perspective in this news article discussion. So what is this RBI's Retail Direct scheme? See, under this particular scheme, small investors can now buy or sell government securities or bonds directly in the primary and secondary markets. So it allows direct purchase of bonds without the need for an intermediary. These retail investors, they can invest in G-Secs, or that is the government securities, by opening a gilt security account called Retail Direct Gilt, in short called as RDG account, with the RBI. So what are the objectives of this scheme? See, the scheme is aimed at diversifying the G-Sec market, which is dominated by institutional investors like banks, insurance company, mutual funds, and etc. And it offers a portal avenue to invest in central government securities, treasury bills, state development loans, and sovereign gold bonds, and etc. As we saw already, the scheme allows invest in primary as well as secondary market and government securities markets. Now let's see the eligibility criteria to invest in a retail direct scheme. See, a retail investor can register under this particular scheme and maintain a RDG account if they possess permanent account number PAN issued by the Income Tax Department, access to primary issuance of government securities, any officially valid document for KYC purpose, valid email ID and a registered mobile number. Apart from this, non-residential retail investors are also eligible to invest in government securities under Foreign Exchange Management Act or the FEMA Act 1999. Remember, the RDG account can be opened singly or jointly with another retail investor who meets the eligibility criteria. Also remember one thing, only one bit per security is permitted in the scheme and payment can be made using the net banking or UPI facility from the linked bank account. So if you want to buy government bonds, then the payment should be made to the designated account of CCIL, that is the Clearing Corporation of India, NDS OM, and the registered investors can access the secondary market transaction link on the online NDS OM portal to buy or sell government securities. So these are all very relevant facts that you have to remember about this RBI's Retail Direct scheme. So with these learned points, now let us move on to the next news article discussion. Look at the science page article. Recently, World Young Rheumatic Disease Day, in short called as Birth Day, was observed on March 18. This day is celebrated to raise awareness about the early diagnosis of rheumatic arthritis among young people. See, various scientists have observed that the timely treatment of juvenile arthritis can limit disability in children. So in this backdrop, let us learn about juvenile arthritis from the prelims perspective. Before that, have this basic understanding. Arthritis is a disorder that causes pain and swelling in one or more of the body's joints. It causes joint stiffness, joint damage or inflammation of one or more joints. So the general symptoms include swelling, pain and burning sensation. Remember, many forms of arthritis are caused by problems with your immune system, but some forms of arthritis like gout are caused by a metabolic condition. The main factor that may increase your risk of arthritis or increasing age. So just have this basic understanding about arthritis. Just like adults, children can also develop arthritis, and the most common type of chronic arthritis that can affect children is called juvenile idiopathic arthritis. This JIA begins in children and adolescents before the age of 16. Even though this type of disease is more frequent in girls than boys, there is another form of disease that involves inflammation of the places where ligaments and tendons attach to bones. This particular form of disease is known as enthesitis related JIA. This is very common in boys. Now you can ask, what are the causes of JIA? See, just like adult rheumatoid arthritis, JIA is an autoimmune disease. That is, the body's immune system attacks its own healthy cells and tissues and causes joint pain. And the JIA can be caused due to various factors like genes, environment and etc. Technically, JIA is linked to part of a gene called HLA antigen DR4. So a person with this antigen may be more likely to have the disease. Some of the common symptoms of juvenile arthritis are morning stiffness, joint inflammation, and they are often accompanied by warmth due to inflammation. Remember, in some cases, it may also lead to eye inflammation resulting in blurring vision, dryness or conjunctivitis. Children affected with JA will have fatigue, suboptimal weight gain, delayed growth, high fever, a pervasive body rash and swollen lymph node and etc. Finally, note that the juvenile arthritis cannot be prevented and there is no cure for it, but early diagnosis and treatment can significantly improve a children's prognosis. And the treatment should be tailored to the child's age, and it can include physical therapy like aquatic exercise, swimming and cycling and etc. So these are all very relevant facts that you have to remember about juvenile arthritis. Remember, arthritis does not happen only in the adult. It can even happen to children below 16. Remember this fact. So with these learned points, now let us move on to the next news article discussion. Look at this text and context article. It highlights that there is a growing global and national interest in using nuclear energy to help fight climate change. Now this is suddenly in news because a big meeting in Brussels called the Nuclear Energy Summit has showed that countries around the world see nuclear power as key to reducing carbon emission. However, there are challenges, especially with getting enough money to build more nuclear plants. In India, the government is also trying to grow its nuclear power industry to provide affordable and reliable energy. This is the crux of the news article given here. So in this news article discussion, let us understand about nuclear technology with our mains answer writing practice. Let me read out the question for you. Give an account of the growth and development of nuclear science and technology in India. What are the advantages of a fast breeder reactor program in India? So this question can be asked in GS paper 3 under this particular syllabus. Now the question demands us to write about the development of nuclear technology in the first part and the advantages of FBR in the second part. So let's start answering this question. In the introduction part, you can write that recently the first ever nuclear energy summit happened in Brussels, which underscores the international commitment to expanding nuclear power capabilities. This initiative follows the COP28 declaration emphasizing the need to triple nuclear capacity by 2050, and it reflects the indispensable role of nuclear energy. India also has made significant improvement in this field for achieving a sustainable and low carbon future. So you can write these points in the introduction part. Now moving on to the main body of the answer. Firstly, you have to write about the growth and development of nuclear technology in India. So the first important development you can mention is about the Atomic Energy Commission AEC. This was set up in 1948 under the leadership of Homi J. Bhabha, and this marked the beginning of India's nuclear program. Secondly, in 1954, the Atomic Energy Establishment, Trombay, in short called as AEET, was founded, which later became the Bhabha Atomic Research Center, BARC. Thirdly, India's first nuclear power plant was commissioned in 1969 at Tarapur, Maharashtra. This marked a significant step in country's nuclear power generation. Fourthly, India demonstrated its nuclear capabilities to the world with a peaceful nuclear explosion at Pokhran in 1974 and later in 1998. Fifthly, post the Pokhran test, India faced international embargoes which led to the development of indigenous technology for both power generation and strategic purposes. So you can write these points regarding the development of nuclear technology in India in this first part. Moving on to the second part of the answer, that is the advantages of fast breeder reactor. Here you can give a connecting statement. Proceed with the advantages. As of 2023, India is in the second stage of its nuclear power program with fast breeder reactors being developed and tested. These reactors are a crucial element of India's nuclear strategy, offering several advantages as follows. First and most importantly, FBR enhanced the efficiency of uranium utilization by transforming non-fossil uranium U-238 into fissile plutonium Pu-239 as seen in the prototype fast breeder reactor PFBR in Kalpakkam. Secondly, by burning actinides, which significantly contribute to the long-term radiotoxicity of nuclear waste. Here, FBRs play a crucial role in reducing the volume and hazard of nuclear waste. Thirdly, given India's modest uranium reserve and plentiful thorium supplies, FBRs are essential for securing the nation's long-term energy needs. They enable the conversion of thorium into fissile uranium-233, paving the way for a sustainable energy future. So you can write these points as the advantages of fast breeder reactor. So moving on to the conclusion part, here you can write that India has made significant progress in nuclear science and technology that emphasizes self-reliance and efficient use of domestic resources. Joining the nuclear supplier group remains a crucial step for India to further its achievements and secure a sustainable energy future. So you can write these points in the conclusion. So in this news article discussion, we saw in detail about the nuclear technology. We saw how nuclear technology programs developed in India and what are all the advantages of the fast breeder reactor. Now, apart from the discussed articles, we have chosen very important articles relevant for the examination. You can just go through these articles. Since we have discussed enough regarding these topics, we are not going to discuss regarding it again. Today is World Water Day. That is why there were two editorial articles regarding water. One is regarding water diplomacy and another is regarding quantity and quality of water. And this third article is regarding how water insecurity affects women. Apart from this article which talks about self-regulatory organizations is very important. And previously we have covered an article regarding fact check unit. Currently, Supreme Court has stayed government's fact check unit. This has been stayed due to the challenges involving free speech. That is why this article is also important. This is from Indian Express. So with these news highlights, let's move on to the preliminary practice question discussion. Look at this first question. Two statements are given and you have to find which statement given here is or correct. The first statement says, any retired judge of the Supreme Court of India can be called back to sit and act as Supreme Court judge by the Chief Justice of India with prior permission of the President of India. This statement is correct. Second statement says, a High Court in India has the power to review its own judgment as the Supreme Court does. This statement is also correct. So the correct answer for this question is option C, both 1 and 2. Moving on, look at this question about Retail Direct scheme. 3 statements are given and you have to find how many statements given here is or all correct. See here, all the 3 statements are incorrect. So the correct answer is option D, none. See, the first statement says it is a flagship scheme of Securities and Exchange Board of India. No, it is flagship scheme of RBI. Second statement says only resident individuals can invest. No, both resident and non-resident individuals can invest in the scheme. Third statement says it allows the investor to invest only in the primary market. No, it can allow the investor to invest in both primary and secondary market. So the correct answer here is option D, none. Moving on, look at this question. 4 options are given and you have to find which is not an autoimmune disease. The correct answer is option D, Alzheimer. So displayed here is the mains practice question for you today. Just go through the question, try to answer it in the comment section. With this, we came to the end of the news article discussion. If you like the video, hit like, do comment, and don't forget to subscribe to Shankar IAS Academy YouTube channel. Now, thank you so much for listening.